tornado.
Hey, what's happening? We are live. It is One of a Kind with RVD, episode 49. And guess who's here, guys? I mean, it's Rob Van Dam. Rob, how are you, man?
I am here, Dominic DiNucci.
It's good to see you. It's good to see Katie over there and everybody out hanging out. So we got quite a good show
Hi,
happening.
Dominic DiNucci.
Hey, what's up, Katie? How are you?
Good.
That's
Hey.
good. Yeah, I'm hanging in there, doing good. It's been nice. I can't complain.
Wait a minute. Dominic DiNucci was from Pittsburgh.
That's it. How about that?
What the hell?
Uh-huh. Yep. I got to meet him a couple of times. He was a nice guy. So
Yeah, super nice.
yeah. He trained Shane Douglas, trained McFoley. So he's had a pretty good resume for that. So
Yeah, worked with the Sheik and Kowalski and
no shit. That had to be pretty interesting too. Yeah.
yeah. He was on a tour of Australia that we did a couple of years ago with Shane, and I really liked him. And he gave me a little bit of advice, and it was funny because he felt out of place giving me advice, you know. But I really appreciated it, you know. And I could tell that he was like, you know, what do I know though? You probably don't want to hear. I was like, no, I mean, I agree with you. That totally. You're 100% right. You know, like, why did I need to hit the guy with 20 different RVD chair moves in a row? He says too much, you know, and it is. It was just I was just out there being a highlight reel, and I was like, I love it. You're right. Yeah.
He was a smart guy. I remember seeing him. We have a local promotion here called KSWA. And he would usually go to those things once in a while, and it was kind of just neat to see him. But you could see him sometimes during the show. He'd be like standing in the back, but like kind of like peeking behind the curtain and watching and stuff like that. It's pretty neat to see him there. You know,
people like that. You know, they really love the business, and that's just something that's so admirable from my perspective, being in the business, to see somebody that, you know, was doing it way before I was born and did it all the way into the grave. You know, and they're so interested that they keep up with it, keep the next generation going, teaching new guys, bringing people into the industry, and I just think that's really awesome. It's indicative of what a commitment it was back in the day, as far as like, boom, this is your life.
Yeah,
you swear an oath to it, omerta.
Yeah, right. And the thing too, he was I think he was super popular in Australia, which is like when you mentioned it, he was like a really popular star down there. Him and I can't remember who the other guy was, but another Italian guy, both down there. They had a good run.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to think of the name.
Yeah,
Lovey wants to say hi.
Oh, look at Lovey! Oh my gosh,
love
such a sweetheart. Good travel companion there. I do the same with my cat. like he probably hates it, but I'm still kissing it. We're alive. We got a good amount of audience in here, guys. If you want to ask a question, feel free to use the super chat, help out the podcast. But whether you're watching on the Real RVD YouTube channel or rvdtv.com, give us a like, hit subscribe, comment, get the word out, share with your friends, share with your enemies. They'll learn less to learn a little bit in RVDology coming up and everything like that. Always a good part, and keeping all that in mind. So, guys, feel free to chime in.
Hey, this weekend is going to be the deadline for the coloring contest for the wrestling outfits.
Yes, so guys, there's still some time. Get them in there. You download these images, color them, send your finished artwork to rvdebay@gmail.com. Joe Howland, RVD's airbrush artist, will help us select the winner. Airbrush the actual real live outfit, and RVD will wear it on TV.
It's Joe Holland. It says Joe, Howland.
Yeah, I was like, I think Rob's saying Joe Holland, right? I was like, I don't know.
Joe Holland, and there's no comma in the middle of it, so I don't know. He told me that like weeks ago that he saw that on the website, and I thought I told my guy to fix it, but I guess why bother now? I don't know.
Jeez, oh man, it's been up for how many weeks?
4 days. I guess it's all right.
Yeah, a couple more days. We do have a super chat. Let's see what that says. Okay, what's up, Dom RVD? Just showing love for the podcast. He's always put me in a good mood. You two stay safe. Well, thanks, Chris J. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Very cool. Appreciate that, man. I always love that when people want to randomly tell me that, like if they're there to at a signing to meet me, get a picture, get their Funko Pop signed, whatever, or even if it's just one of the boys in passing, like stopping and saying, "Hey, how's it going, so and so." I love it when they want to put in there, "Hey, man, I'm digging the podcast," because that goes a long way because that feedback is important because we spend our time doing this every week, setting aside this time, so it's good to know that people appreciate it.
Absolutely, getting the word out and everything like that. And
that Chris J, by the way, makes me automatically think of Chris Youngblood, who is Jay Youngblood's brother.
Oh,
yeah, and him. There was two Youngbloods. I don't remember the other one. That was, I think, older than Chris. I think Chris just died, if I'm not mistaken, but from a heart attack or something. But they were in All Japan, and I did a tour or two in All Japan and got to know them. And they were telling me, according to him, he was saying that, Jay Youngblood, I think, was Ricky Steamboat's partner, really popular. And Chris Youngblood told me that Jay had a broken rib and that it broke and that the rib pointed inside and that he didn't get it checked out in time and didn't know, but that the rib was pointing in and that it irritated like his pancreas and caused it to get fucked up, infected, whatever, and that's how he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I thought it was always like a substance abuse thing. I didn't even know that it was just an injury like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just the way that I was told the story, and I always remember it that way, and I've never come across the story any other way, to compare it. I just never have.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
So Chris, his other brother was Mark Youngblood.
Yeah.
Sons of Ricky Romero. And I loved I was introduced by Jim Valley about the storyline between Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood against Sergeant Slaughter and the other gentleman. I can't remember what his name was, but the Roads to Greenboro storyline. And that was so good. I went and watched all that on YouTube. One of the best tag team storylines I've ever seen before. It was really good stuff.
That's cool. That's the stuff that was going on in a different part of the world than me. I just got WWF. That was it. No other federation existed until way into my fandom years when I was almost, ready to make that decision to become a pro wrestler myself. That's when I would go out of my way to try to find other wrestling. Like one neighbor had a satellite dish so he could get UWF and World Class. When I would go to my grandma's in Detroit, she had something different, which might have been World Class. I'm not sure. I was having a discussion with someone yesterday. We figured it might be because I know I had Iceman Parsons and gentleman Chris Adams on it because that's how I knew them, was from that group that I got in Detroit. But then you go home and you try to talk to the other kids at school about it. Nobody could relate because they only knew the WWF wrestlers.
Yeah. I'm sure we talked about this on the earlier shows, Rob. Who really drew you in as a younger fan? Like, is there somebody that like really caught your eye and that's what hooked you? Was there somebody in particular, or was it a particular moment? Do you recall anything like that? Or
yeah, I mean, there's a few different ways to answer that. I can remember the first time that I watched wrestling on television. That was the first time that I was hooked, and it was Mike Kirshner, Corporal Kirshner, some kind of rappelling or zip lining he was doing. I think he jumped out of a helicopter. I was like, whoa, this dude's cool. And then I saw him get jumped by the Iron Sheik, and I was hooked, and they said next week he's going to have his revenge or whatever. And I was like, I can't miss that. That was the first time that I was like hooked in, and I was like, whoa, next week on this channel, dude, I'm going to be here for sure. I'm making plans right now. And I understood why all the other kids were trying to get me to watch it every week with them because they loved it. And then, as a fan, the first guy that I remember really inspiring me a lot was Leaping Lanny Poffo, Randy Savage's brother. He thought outside the box. He got beat all the time, but I pulled for him as a fan. I always thought that his ingenuity and creativeness was going to get him ahead. And he was doing flying head scissors when nobody else was even doing anything like that. Like that back then, that was like, whoa, he does a monkey flip. That's so cool. And so I really pulled for him. I remember reading in WWF magazine that Ricky Steamboat was working out with Lanny at the gym. And so I was like, yes, that's his break. Ricky's going to pull him under his wing. And Davey's going to start winning. And this was before he was the genius. The genius for him was probably the best part of his career, just because that was the only time he had like a push in WWF, which would have probably been the most money and the most spotlight that he got. But for me, it wasn't about that heel character. It was about him before, and just as a baby face, it worked for me as a mark. And then, I liked Hulk Hogan. I liked Hercules for a while. The Ultimate Warrior was the next guy that really had me enthralled. Like the Ultimate Warrior was so intense. Before everyone knew who he was the Dingo Warrior doing house show loops before he was on TV with WWF, and I was seeing him there, telling everyone about him that didn't go to the shows but hadn't seen him yet because he wasn't on TV yet. And this guy's so intense, and he's so jacked, so strong, and picks him up over his head, run. I was so wrapped up into him that I used to like cut out. My grandma would always save me the newspapers because newspapers in Detroit always had wrestling in them. So when we would go visit, that's something I would do. I'd go through all the stack, and I would cut out wrestling articles and stuff like that, and I would like tape them on my wall, and like I collected that kind of stuff. Even if it was a comic strip, which there was a Dribble or Mr. Drabble, something like that. He was a part-time pro wrestler. Anyway, I would cut out the articles of stories about the shows at the Joe Louis Arena or whatever was going on. And when Ultimate Warrior was there, and there was a story about him in a magazine or newspaper, I would cut it out, and I had like a wall full of him, and that guy really inspired me. So when I started imitating the wrestlers in the kickboxing ring, and me and my buddies would pretend we were wrestlers, I would use a Sharpie and color on my face and put shoestrings on my arms and call myself the Battle Creek Barbarian and do the gorilla press, which I was able to do my weight and then some. So that was always something that I used to be strong at.
How about that? That's
that would change though anyway. You know what I mean? But that's basically the rundown, I guess, of people that really stood out to inspire me as wrestlers.
Yeah. I remember you saying Lanny Poffo too, especially.
Yeah, I'm the only one that's ever told Lanny, dude, you were my favorite wrestler growing up. He wasn't used to having anyone say that, and he really appreciated it.
Yeah, I bet. We should make some RVD frisbees. Like
right.
Get some RVD frisbees going. That'd be pretty sweet. So that's kind of I was gonna ask you about that. Like it's cool that Ultimate Warrior was one of your favorites. He had such high energy and stuff like that. You have a different type of energy when you go there. When did you kind of realize, like, okay, the Warrior was the Warrior. I love the Warrior, but I'm me, and I gotta be me instead of like that amped up energy kind of thing? Did that kind of like hit you at some point where it's like, that's not who I am, but I really like the Warrior for that kind of energy?
So these were like at the shows before I even met the Sheik, like we would, it was the kickboxing shows. So we would choreograph wrestling matches and go out there, and they were probably pretty decent, but I mean, I could tear it apart, I'm sure, and criticize it, but we did a lot of really cool stuff, without knowing how to register and sell and how to get the audience's emotion involved. We didn't know any of that stuff, but when I trained with the Sheik, you know, I couldn't, you know, beat my chest. You're like, ah. He would have choked me out, and you know, so it was. I think he brought the me out of me by giving me so much to focus on the foundation of it. There wasn't really room for anything else, and it kind of like kept me fresh and unfiltered and thinking about, you know, doing the right thing. And then, you know, I came in as a kickboxer, never really had to put that much character in. It seems like within the first few years, people were giving me props for being chill and relaxed. And then eventually I took pride in that, you know, and thought, wow, I'm going to really, you know, put more energy into that because I'm comfortable with being chill and relaxed. And that's natural for me as opposed to trying to fake something else and try to be intimidating and trying to scare people that I'm actually working with. And it is like that, you know, like even though we work together and we're friends or whatever, you still like have a way man to man when you shake someone's hand. Sometimes you size them up, you know, subconsciously, especially if you're in the fighting game at all. You know, sometimes, I mean, that happens, you know, like especially if it's outside the dressing room and you meet someone at a signing or whatever, and whoa, you know, this is a big guy here, you know, like it stands out, you know, like, whoa, he's got big hands like mine. And, you know, he matched my handshake. Like, oh, this dude must be an athlete. There's always like stuff like that. And as far as that goes, for me, sometimes I feel like people that are used to having everyone intimidated by them because of their size, because of their haircut, whatever it is about them. Some people I can tell when I meet them that they're a little thrown off that I'm so relaxed at being with them, you know, that I'm come on, dude, whatever, you know, that's a work. We're not working right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm comfortable with that, you know, and even if it is someone that could destroy me, I still am comfortable with that, with being, you know, the crash dummy for that or whatever. And I'm just saying, you know, even if it was the toughest MMA champion in the world, you know, I don't know. Actually, like, now that I think about it, and I put it that way, I mean, every time I meet Nick Diaz, like he's got like this vibe about him that just like he seems like he's used to just everybody being afraid of him and kissing his ass or whatever. And whenever I've met him, he always right away acts like he couldn't care less. You know, it's been like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times. Every time he's just like, hey, what's going on? You know, he's just like looking around, whatever, you know, it just totally makes me feel like, well, I don't know if he wants me to know that he thinks I'm unimportant or that whatever, but I'm fine with that because I'm feeling the same way, you know. I mean, I respect him and stuff, but as far as like, I'm not gonna mark out or
be like, oh my god, hey,
you know, if you wanna sit at the same table and just and not look at each other, I'm cool with that, you know. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder too. That's pretty interesting because you'd think like somebody would be like, "Oh, hey Rob, how you doing?" or whatever, you know, like that. But you know, it's I think maybe different. Yeah, everybody's different. Yeah. Everybody's different. That's it. Well, did you say Nate or Nick Diaz? Which Diaz was it?
Nick.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, met him a few times in different places, and I still don't know if he knows who I am. whatever. But it wouldn't even change, even if he was to say, you know what, yeah, I know who RVD is. I've never really liked him. I always thought he was a dick. Even if I was to read that or something, it wouldn't change my opinion about him. You know, I still respect his fighting. Him and his brother both come across like punks. but then they back it up, and that's badass.
Yeah, it is pretty badass.
And he's a triathlon fucking athlete, so how you gonna not respect that, man? That's
right.
Crazy shit. And what a great representative for cannabis. I don't need someone to like me for me to like them. It's not even a factor. And I say that a lot of times, but I make a point of it because that's so rare. Like most people, like, hey, how do you feel about Dominic? Oh, he's really cool. Really? Because he said he doesn't like you. Well, fuck him.
Fuck that guy, man.
And to me, like, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I mean, like, if you're able to take yourself out of the equation, and just kind of look at it from like, hey, this guy doesn't like me, but I respect what he does. No big deal. Like, it's it. People are people. Like, you can't react to how they feel about you a lot.
Unless your feelings about somebody and opinion about somebody is based on how you think they feel about you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In which case, I get it. You find out or you hear that they don't feel that way about you, and then you're hurt, And
yeah.
But besides that, though, I mean, if it's based on that person's qualities, how you feel about them, and the qualities didn't change just because they, said fuck you, then it shouldn't change how you feel about them. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree. Seth, we'll get to yours because yours is a topic we're actually going to talk about here in a second. But this one, Mez, $2. I need Rob's opinion on Snarf from the Thundercats. Did you watch Thundercats, Rob?
I watched it, but it was so long ago. I don't remember which one is which. Was that the main baby face?
That's the goofy cat. Their sidekick cat, where he's like, Snarf, Snarf. That one.
Too long ago, I don't remember it. Yeah. I remember there was an attractive female cat, and for some reason, cats and attractive females go together. And obviously, it's the P word, right? But I don't know. I've always had a thing for Black Cat from Marvel. Like she's always been like the hottest female character for me in a lot of times in the Spider-Man comics, and likewise, Catwoman in DC, they always have her sexy as well. And, it's something that I think as a kid and coming up on comic books that was instilled in my brain. And anyway, that's why the neighbor's cat had babies that looked like me.
Ooh. There we go. I tell you what, I really liked Black Cat and Spider-Man. She had such a cool story. Gwen Stacy and all that stuff. Really cool aspect for Spider-Man, I thought. Good kind of friend of me there.
I love you.
Have fun.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Yeah.
See ya.
Have fun. Are you going roller skating?
Yeah. That's our Thursday thing.
Heck yeah. Party down.
Hi, everybody.
Love you.
Love you, Robbies.
Have fun. Be safe.
Thank you. We will.
Take care, guys.
See you later.
All right, Seth, here. We'll get to your question and lead into everything else. Seth, thanks for the $20, man, and for the remix. I think it's going to work. If I have to make a guess, I think this will work this time. We'll find out. But he says, happy 420.
Thundercats. Ho. Right.
Yep, that's it.
It's so long ago. I don't remember.
That's before my time, too, as a kid. It was like right before I started. I was like cognizant of cartoons.
Snarf must not have made a big impression on me because I don't remember him.
Yeah, he turned me off from it, to be honest, I think. Happy 420, RVD. You stoked up for Dynamite? He means Collision. But hope Tony Khan knows that the only one RVD puts over on 420 is Mary Jane. Since AEW allows outside promotion belts on television, are you taking your Weed World Championship belt with you?
I just thought of that today.
You thought of that today, baby?
Yeah, I was just looking at the weed belt when I was UW belt. I was putting my UWW belt with the weed belt, and I was just thinking he needs to bring that for 420. Like, that is so perfect.
Yeah, that's a badass belt, too. That looks damn good. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Get some pictures in front of the AEW screen with that belt or something real quick. But she's not going to be there to snap the photos with me because she's wrestling in New Orleans.
Oh, her back.
Wild Thundercats. Wildcats.
Thundercats, Wildcats. We got a whole bunch of cats.
Wildcats. Oh. Yeah.
So, hey, that might be a good idea then, Rob. Bring that belt along.
Yeah. Well, we got a few things that are kind of special lined up for 420. And you may have seen a campaign that just launched hours ago on social media with Greek Glass. They have some amazing water pieces. In fact, they're a really big company and they distribute worldwide, and they have glass bongs and boom, a line of RVD water bongs. What could be better than that? And we're debuting this on 420, and so they just started promoting the website today, RVD420.com. It's pretty easy.
It's also on Instagram. I know they have an account on Instagram for it, so I'll be sure. I'll look it up in here. I just literally followed them too because they tagged me in something. But yeah, that's really exciting. Getting all the details about some of that stuff and what's down the pipeline for that. Holy smokes, some cool stuff going on there. Shoot, where are they? They tagged me. Either way, I'll
filmed a lot of stuff in Philadelphia over the week. Whoa, fuck!
Uh-oh.
I just kicked my water over. It's all good.
Oh, you good? You good?
Dramatic oversell.
I was like, oh shit, did he light something on fire? What happened?
Anyway, cool guys, cool project, cool partners, and I think the fans are going to really love it.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, 420 is pretty exciting. Rob, how do you feel? Like Peoria, Illinois, it's going down. Do you know what you're doing exactly? Obviously, you don't got to tell us, but are you aware of what they have planned for you yet? Or you shooting from the hip and seeing what happens?
I am like very often going in just hey, I thought you left. You?
I forgot my phone.
Oh, love you, baby. Going in prepared to bring what I bring to the table, and I don't know what they're doing. You know.
Sweet. Should be exciting though.
Why start now? You know, like looking at it. You know, I've been doing talking like in deep conversation in interviews here, or even sometimes on someone else's podcast about how as a wrestler being brought in with the behind doors etiquette, there were certain things that I was taught that are cool in the locker room, certain things that aren't, you know, and because of that, and me associating with the hoods because we like to get high, you know, we would look at people like The Office as if they were stooges, you know, guys that talk to the agents, that they want to know what they're doing ahead of time and want to pitch ideas and stuff like that. We'd look ahead of them like, oh, they're kissing ass. And we'd look at it like we work our asses off and then they should place us accordingly to make their money off us. That's their fucking job. We don't need to kiss ass to, you know, to fucking get ahead. And that's the way that my perspective always was, and I got as far as I got in spite of that, you know. But now seeing the bigger picture, I look at it now like, you know, if you look at it like it is a business, because it is, you know, what's wrong with anybody going to the boss or their superior pitching ideas that they may have, you know, like why would that be frowned upon? And anywhere else it probably wouldn't be, you know. But even though I've been saying that and stuff, like I'm booked and it's like I don't know what I'm doing yet, so there's a chance that I might not like it. I like to be optimistic and think, you know, that that's not going to be the case, and really, you know, I'll like it anyway, you know. But I'm just saying, you know, as far as the finish goes, you know, I can't win them all, obviously, according to my, what is it, 3-2 record? No, 2-3 record so far. But yeah, I you know, like a lot of people would definitely. And even like after like WWE, after like the last time I went there, the whole run, they had like nothing for me. And then I complained at the very end, and they were like, you should have said something. We didn't notice. Everyone was so busy with everyone. And, if you come back, we'll have everything down. We'll know what you're doing, who you're working with, every pay-per-view. And I know after going through that, that's the way it should be, but still, this is like a one-off. These are all one-offs. And so I don't treat it like something that I'm really concerned about, because as far as the finish goes, that's not going to be something that would keep me from taking the booking, I'm pretty sure. And I like working with them, and I'm sure in good faith that we're going to do something cool, something fun. Fans are going to be stoked to see me. It's a payday. It's another shot on TV. I am a little curious, not curious enough to phone ahead and say,
like, "Hey, what's going on?"
And I said,
Yeah. No, I'm excited for it. And Tony Khan, he had a quote about it too. I wish I wrote down where he made this quote, but I got it from the internets. He said, "Well, it's 420 on Saturday, so I thought it would be very fitting to bring RVD to Peoria and have RVD as part of this weekend's collision. So we're going to have a huge dynamite tonight on TBS." Okay, so this was Wednesday when he said this. "A big weekend of Collision and Rampage, 3 hours Saturday, and it all leads to a big pay-per-view this weekend, Dynasty. And I can't wait to get started on TBS. This is going to be a loaded, stacked, awesome show tonight." So, hey, he gave you the name drop, but he's excited to have you there. I'm sure, in good faith, too. Tony Khan's going to do right by you, too. It's 420, man. It's 420. So,
when's the pay-per-view, though?
Sunday, so the next day.
So whatever I'm doing is going to be some kind of lead into the pay-per-view that I'm not part of. So already I start, cocking an eyebrow. That's why I don't like knowing shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather, not, no worries till I get there.
Yeah. Good point. We'll have to see you on Saturday. But another super chat here. We have HBK's. Oh my, HBK's lazy eye. Okay, $4.99. Thanks for the $4.99. Rob, what were your initial thoughts on the Invasion Alliance storyline after WCW and ECW were bought out? We've talked about this before, but Rob, give us your thoughts on that 2001. Man, what a time that was too for pro wrestling.
That was the coolest storyline ever in wrestling, I believe.
Yeah.
To have WCW and ECW against WWF, which it was at the beginning of the Invasion still, that was when it was changing, was right then at that moment. And that was unheard of, not long before that, WWF never even acknowledged there was any other organizations or any other history or place for wrestlers to get experience. If they weren't in WWF, then it just didn't happen. And they were just coming out of that for the Monday Night Wars. And so times were changing really quick. It was exciting. They were acknowledging each other, parodying each other, poking at each other. It was awesome. And then it ended the way it did with WCW going under, and then Vince acquiring what was left of the other wrestling companies, something that he had been doing the whole time that he owned WWE since he took over from his dad, acquiring all the other territories. I've been reading the Sheik's book recently. I started a long time ago, and I picked it up again recently, and I learned so much about what was going on in the industry right when I joined in 1989. Like, I didn't realize this stuff was going on like right then and right before then, leading up to then. It's easy to feel like history happened like so long before us, but that's usually seldomly the case, and we're connected to it so easily. And one way to prove it, you can just go back a couple generations. Like, think about our grandfather, and then think about his dad. There's a chance he came over from another country, If not, then probably his parents did. And it's just, it's not that our country's, still not that old. It's going on, 300 years? So when you look at it that way, we're part of tomorrow's history. Boom, it happens so quick. And my point, Vince came in and right away started like, including Sheik's territory, but boom, bought up everybody, crossed what were considered boundaries before, and ate up what was the NWA. WWE used to be, WWF was at one part of the NWA, and basically I think when they bought WCW, that was like the last of it. I guess there's still an NWA right now in title, but that's what he always did, and that was like the winning play. Boom, and so to be part of that, and then to have the wrestlers in the Alliance and the Invasion on WWE television representing the outside forces, it was super, super cool. It was like what the NWO was as far as outsiders on the program, except for much bigger because of what we represented. There was all kinds of mistakes and flaws we can point out, and I don't think we had the best necessarily representatives from WCW to have a head-on war with WWE, but overall it was awesome. It was a really cool idea, and I think even having Shano go and run it against his dad, I think we had some unforgettable historic moments in the wrestling industry before eventually Vince got to raise his hand in victory.
Yeah, right. Revisionist history, so to speak. I was such a fan of that time. It was so cool because I was just getting introduced to ECW and watching you guys on TNN and kind of getting that underground, wow, I should not be watching this. I feel I shouldn't be watching it. And then here all of a sudden you guys show up on WWE. I'm like, oh man, RVD's there. You got fucking Tommy Dreamer there. I was like, this is going to be fucking badass. And just being amped up for that and seeing how you were utilized and stuff like that. You got, I think, like with the Hardcore Championship, we've talked about that plenty of times before, like you building that up and just getting right into the thick of the action of that. It was just a very cool time period for wrestling, even though we lost a company technically, but two companies. But hey, yeah, Rob mentioned it. Brian Solomon's book, Blood and Fire. Check it out. It's a good one. I'm excited to read it too. And
it's so good, dude. It's so good. And I'm reading it on Kindle because that's where I do my reading. And, I'd gotten through like halfway and put it down a while ago and then picked it up again. And now that I picked it up again, I look forward to getting back to it. I got to the part where I'm in it and Sabu, and we're into like, I guess the early 1990s. In fact, the book's probably almost done because I think she just passed away now that I think about it. So I'm almost at the end of the book. But I learned so much, and I learned so much about how similar Sabu's path is and was to the Sheik, and how much he was like him in so many ways outside of the ring, and the choices that he made and the effects that it had on his life, and so much stuff that I had no idea, and fascinating to know what was going on right when I was there training with him, and him and his wife Joyce and what they were going through and stuff. And I didn't even know. It's amazing because it all makes sense now, like as I always say, in the bigger picture.
Yeah. Okay, man. Yeah.
Great book though. So much information. It's got so many, so much history. And then if there's like things that they don't know, there's different stories of what happened, and we don't know exactly what happened. Brian will put him in there, and say, I interviewed so-and-so and he said this, but then so-and-so had a different take. He said this. And then, more realistically, what was reported in the sets and shuts is probably, similar to what happened. And that went like this. And there's just like so much in it. And I love nonfiction. And wow, this was my guy, my trainer, my mentor, the guy that brought me in, the guy whose blood lifeblood I continue to carry on in the business in, one of the last remaining vessels. So it's amazing to me that I didn't know all of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, guys, check it out. You can get it on Amazon. RVD wrote the forward too, as you can see. RVD for by RVD. Check it out. Man, yeah, we'll have to get Brian on here. I know we talked about that before.
Yeah, I thought about that recently.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool to have him on. He's a good dude. Yeah. And he's currently writing a book about Gorilla Monsoon right now. That's what his next project. So he's been working on that for a while. Yeah. So, super chat. Here we go. Paul Bauer, $9.99. He says, "Thank you, RVD, for making my childhood great. Always underrated. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Thank you for being a good person in and out of the ring. Peace." Very nice of you, Paul. Thank you.
Absolutely, dude. That's something that,
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex, guys. Remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get the extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you receive prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in the line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. They always say first impressions are important. What about lasting impressions? Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RVD at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RVD to receive your first month free. Visit Blue Chew for more details and important safety information. And we, RVD and I, thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
That's one thing about people like me that are genuine is they're consistent.
Mm-hmm.
They're consistent. We grow, we learn, and we change in that way, in a way that we adapt to what we learn by improving ourselves. But when it comes to the substance, what we stand for, what we talk about, when we say things that we believe in, come back and check on us 10, 15 years later. We ain't moved, we ain't budged, because we know we're right. And it's a firm belief. That's the depth of integrity. You can, and I have to have the confidence to be able to talk open like I am, because anybody can call me on my shit. And the fact is, that's why I keep it genuine, and why, if you think that I've said some inconsistent things, there's a really good chance that you're mistaken, and that you didn't use my words and you translated it in a way that changed the words to you. And we go back and prove it like a lawyer by looking at what I said. And I'm not perfect. But anyway, shallow people, they don't have that depth. They don't have that integrity. They don't know what they stand for, what they believe in. They're like chameleons, like they change and just adapt to other people's values and hold on to them until they don't work anymore for them, and trade them off with a few new ones they might pick up here and there, and they're not going to be as consistent because their beliefs aren't as deep. They're just, barely in the ground. So first little gust of wind and boom, their shit's all over the place.
Right. A lot of politicians and stuff. Hey guys, real quick. RVD, One of a Kind with RVD, is sponsored by Get Blitzed. You can use promo code RVD for 15% off. If you're not familiar with Get Blitzed, Mickey Ray, Sinatra, and Courtney, it's Get Blitzed Lit Aid Nano-Infused THC Syrup is a premium cannabis-infused syrup formulated with nanotechnology for fast-acting effects. Get Blitzed Lit Aid Nano-Infused THC Syrup stands out with its advanced nanotechnology formulation, which allows for quicker onset and enhanced potency compared to regular THC syrups. It's Delta 9 and it's legal in all 50 states, guys. So wherever you're at, you can get it. You can just go to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD and get 15% off. He's got different flavors there, such as limeade, which is a very popular one, cherry, tiger's blood, blue raspberry. I think that's the one I have. I'm waiting to use it till I'm around my brother or somebody else. And then they got some good products there. So just go to get-blitz.com, promo code RVD, get 15% off. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Rob, somebody made a mention here in the chat too, and I think this is a really cool one. Factology 101, he says, RVD and DDP, I dare you to name a better role model, better than either of those two in the world of wrestling. So you guys, that's pretty good as observation right there, I think. You and DDP bring such a lot to wrestling, I think. Outside of the ring.
Yeah, DDP is a role model for me. I think so highly of that guy. He's helped so many people and wrestlers that we know, and also just so many ordinary people. And it's amazing, like the before and after shit from students of his that subscribe themselves to his yoga and his lifestyle, and they're able to turn themselves from being basically crippled and not being able to move to being able to like run sprints and walk on their hands. And I wouldn't believe it if it wasn't real life and real people that I know and shit. And so my hat's off to DDP. You know, he literally makes the world a better place.
Yeah, absolutely he does. So much. He's like, to think what he did in wrestling is so cool, because he started at 39, which was an age at that time was like, oh, don't even kind of think about that at that juncture. He did that. He overachieved that. He's like overcome like dyslexia, I believe, and stuff too. And then on top of it, he saved so many lives of wrestlers and brought them back to prominency and in a good spot. And that doesn't necessarily mean they had to be back in the ring to do that. They were just in good spots like Jake and Scott Hall and Riggs and Buff Bagwell and plenty of others. It's really cool to see him just reach across all over and like just have an influence on people. So
yeah, like what a purpose-driven life that is, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very well fulfilled. I want to get we talked about the invasion and stuff like that. DDP was part of that, but he was a very different part of that in a lot of ways, because he was like the Undertaker's stalker and in that storyline. And then later on, they transitioned him out into that motivational speaker kind of stay positively page and all that stuff. And very different from the DDP we saw in WCW. Do you remember that time period with DDP and everything like that? I know you're doing your own thing at that juncture in WWE, but it was pretty different from what we're used to.
Man, not really. You know, like it sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember seeing like 5 seconds of it or something. You know, maybe I'm pulling the hood back and revealing himself or something. But yeah, I wasn't able to follow that at the time because I was into my own thing with my head up my own ass.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on at that time for sure with WWE and wrestling.
Yeah. By the way, you know, I've said this a few times before, but I used to always want to have my stretch routine, which I'm famous for, on some kind of platform where it would be accessible for people, because stretching has been a huge part of my career, definitely a huge part of the success of my health and my durability. And DDP long ago, 92, 93, saw that I was stretching every day before matches, only me. And he said, there's got to be something to it. RVD stretches, he does all these crazy bumps and doesn't get hurt. And that motivated him to stretch, you know, and eventually he came up with DDP Yoga. But we've always stayed close. And he's had obviously a lot of success with the DDP Yoga. And he's got the channels and distribution set up where he was going to distribute my stretch video which would be like a home run, you know, if I could just deliver. And I went there in Atlanta where he lives to his studios, you know, and then saw everything he's got to work with and try to plan it out and stuff. And anyway, that was the point of what I was going to say was he's got a big gym, and he would like meet a few times a day with classes there, and then also film that. And you can have an app, so you could be doing the classes with him online wherever you are in the world. And then he's got like a kitchen in there, like with a chef. And then same thing in his house. They like make pre-meals for like all the students or whatever ahead of time, and knows exactly what he's putting into each of the meals. And he had everything like sets a process, you know, to be able to help people and to have the business end of it covered from his end, to where everything that he's doing is productive in that way. And my stretch video, I don't think probably will ever happen, and that's because I don't know how to bring it out of me, really. It's such an inner experience that I've thought of all kinds of different ways of describing what I'm doing, and it's there's nothing that I like anyway. Yeah. So that's that. But man, DDP's like he's got it. He's got the system set. He knows what he's doing. He's got production, editing suites and stuff, and everything like in-house, like in all these different rooms in the building. And I know he's moved facilities since I've been there. I look forward to seeing his new place again really soon. He sent me some of these power cuffs, which give an awesome workout. Soon I'm going to film a little something and put it on my YouTube. But they're cuffs like the Ultimate Warrior, and you tighten them. And you tighten them so much. And the idea, I think I've talked about this before, but the idea is that it stops the blood from leaving your arm, but still allows blood to come into it. So it gets really pumped up to the point to where it hurts just to pump. It's so pumped that it hurts when you're doing a lot of reps like that. But it's really cool. And I wanted to learn what it is that they're doing a little bit before I try and get it filmed. But he has invited me, and I will take him up on it sometime to come to Atlanta. And then, he's going to get me set straight with it. Same thing with the legs. And that's pretty awesome too, to put the power cuffs on your legs and do your leg workout, squats, whatever. And it's pretty cool. You'll see, at least, I mean, everyone's different, but it tends to cause some vascularity that's not normally seen.
Sweet. I got to keep that in mind for sure.
Yeah.
I know I've mentioned this too about DDP on here before, but when he was helping Jake out, something he made note, I think, on the documentary is when Jake would come in, he'd be wearing all these like shirts that had negative words or phrases on them or images and stuff like that. And he made a note to Jake he's like, hey, stop wearing that stuff. Put on this stuff, wear a different shirt, everything like that. Anything that you do positive will help you mentally with that kind of stuff. Cool. I was like, wow, that's something to really think about. And like now, anytime I see somebody doing something negative, that's like maybe not necessarily like negative to them in the moment, it's like just negative in general, I like make notes about like, oh, if that person just kind of thought about that a different way and didn't think negatively, it would just be different. It's just kind of cool, I think, for DDP.
Oh yeah, you know what that makes me think of, and yeah, if I see someone that wears a shirt that says, fuck the world or whatever, then I kind of think, ew, gross,
Yeah.
But and maybe this is, me saying, you kids get off my damn lawn, but but I don't know if offended is the right word, but turned off by the middle finger. Like when people like having the picture taken, fuck you. And when I see that, I'm always like, it's so opposite of a smile.
Yeah.
And it strikes me that way, is if when I look at it, I'm usually I'm turned off in a way that I'm like, what an asshole, and what a vibe that I'm receiving right now from this photo. And why would they want to do that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're putting negative energy out there.
That's how I feel almost always when I see that, and because especially if they have a rude face with it too.
Yeah, like I'm a badass. Look at me. I'm not listening to you.
Like,
yeah.
What am I? How am I supposed to feel? Like, oh, cool. I want to get that tattooed on my face.
Right.
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the image. I don't like the vibe that comes from it, and it doesn't make me think highly of the person that's doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
Personally, get off my damn lawn.
Get off my lawn, you middle finger throwing mother effers. Shasta Valley, I will take your advice. He says, Dom, go watch Jackie Gleason, do some ad spots, and take a few notes. I will. I like Jackie Gleason, so I'll make a note of that. Thank you. Voodoo Vic, thank you for the $5. Does the yin-yang symbol have a lot of significance to you, Rob? Also, Dom, can you turn your mic up, please, for the pods? I just adjusted my mic, so thank you for that, too. Rob, how about that yin-yang? We talked about that a little bit before, I think.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. I'm trying to remember the first time that the yin-yang came into my life, but I don't have an answer when that was. But I do remember associating it with martial arts early on as I was getting into martial arts, as I was visiting the different dojos, the Battle Creek Budokan, and Todd Tatami's Taekwondo, and a couple places in Kalamazoo, and Terry Gay's and Coldwater. Like, there's always the yin-yang symbol. And so it had that association with it, but I developed a personal relationship with the yin-yang symbol one day when it was just me and the symbol. And this is going to be circa 96 ish. And so I'm like maybe 25, I guess, right? Holy crap. Is that how old I was then? Was I 35? No, 25. I just graduated high school in 89. So, wow, what a baby I was. Yeah. But so anyway, at this particular time, I had an apartment in Savannah, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, I had my own apartment and I'm by myself, and I'm in a really stressful part in my life. When you're young, you get overwhelmed by stuff that later on you look at like, hey, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like breaking up with a loved one. When you're young, your whole world is crushed, and then later on you think, wow, that's happened 4 or 5 times now. I can't believe how broken I was the first time, or hopefully it doesn't keep happening. But either way, the smaller your world is, the more impactful everything is, because everything is bigger in size, takes up a bigger percentage of it. That's why time goes by so much quicker. Hold on, let me not get sidetracked here. So I'm meditating, all right, by myself. I'm stressed out, and my girlfriend at the time and I were fighting. Maybe we were breaking up like we did all the time. We would get back together and break all the time, but it was like moving in and moving states and, shit that was on the line. So it was a pretty big deal to me. And anyway, I was trying to meditate and find inner peace, which, takes a long time to be able to do. But at this time, I would do that regularly, and I would, and I can't go, maybe on another episode, I can describe how I meditate to look for Zen. But here's what I want to get to. I had a poster on the wall of a yin and yang. And when I'm meditating, I have my eyes closed and I'm doing an inner check.
Mhm.
All my senses, heat. Do I feel breezes here or there? Do I feel my shorts? Do I feel sweat dripping down my back? Whatever. My heartbeat. What do I hear? What do I, whatever. And then I do the external tests. Boom, boom, boom. Back in, back out till everything. I seem like I'm so apparent of everything that I go into this stage where I feel like I am no longer connected to or trapped by just my body, and that I'm like something else. And it's an awesome experience. Takes a long time to get there. Can't force it. Can't rush it. I opened up my eyes and I'm looking at the Yinyang poster, and it explained itself to me. And so like it actually started moving, and I could see that each half was trying to overcome the other half, but they were so equal in power, speed, momentum. Neither one gained an edge on the other one. They were equal, exact opposites with the exact same effort. And so what I saw was this created a current and like a water going around. I don't think a washing machine is a good example because it's a steady flow. It's not like a rapid current, but it's a steady flow, a current of energy that's spinning around like an album or whatever. And every problem that I had would boom, I could, instead of feeling overwhelmed in my brain, I got a million things going on, each one of them was identifiable and projected itself as a object that obstructed the current, a rock of different size. Different problems were different size rocks. The black energy obviously was bad energy, the white good, and it looked like these problems would cause the current to have to go around it, but it didn't stop everything like a dam. They didn't seem like the problems were quite as huge and overwhelming as I thought they were. In fact, just being aware that I could see them on a map and categorize them by just looking and saying, okay, I got like 4 bad things going on right now, Okay, so bam, the bitch is fucking someone else at the bar she's working at. That's bad, but let's identify it. That's one thing. And then I could like pull it out, and then the current goes through. It's like, whoa, okay, just and that became like an objective, is to try to identify and be aware and see if that doesn't allow you to actually pull the rock out. You don't have to have a problem solved necessarily, but it can allow the energy to go through, allow the continuous flow to go non-disruptive. And before you know it, you're feeling, or I was anyway, a lot better than I was. I think without any rocks, if it was just a complete flow of nonstop equal energy, well, that would be self-perfection. Nobody has self-perfection. It's something to work towards, though, when we try to better ourselves. I mean, that's what we're doing, is working towards that goal, but nobody's perfect. So we all have rocks, pebbles, boulders, or whatever that fucks up our chi and it disrupts our even flow of Zen, and that for me is my calm foundation. That's my default system. I need to get back there when I get away from being calm. And so that's a way to do it. And it explained itself to me. And I developed a personal relationship with the yin and yang since then. And I've always seen it as that, as like an artistic filing cabinet to store problems, issues, or things that I have to deal with so I don't get overwhelmed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rob, that's one of my favorite segments you've done so far on the show, talking about that right now.
Yeah, true story.
That's awesome.
Very, very personal. It's just me and her, and I mean me and the yin and yang, and
yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, I was just like, oh my God, my life's falling apart. What? And then, I was meditating. And then a while later, I'm like, oh, I got a couple of things I got to deal with. That's all. It was like, it really helped keep everything in perspective.
Did that continue then for you? Were you just always cognizant of that, or did you have to keep reminding yourself about it, or did they?
Oh, I don't always look at the actual image and throw it in there because I don't have to anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, if I'm on my way to the airport and I'm running late and there's an accident on the highway in front of me, obviously that goes in the bad news category. You know what I mean? That's not too difficult, so now it's like an automatic system. And then, as I've said on here, I always just use sarcasm to deal with it now and say, oh, sweet, hopefully all the fucking lanes will be blocked. You know what I mean? And it's for me, that's what it became. But that's like a system that was developed from literally saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to New York tomorrow. That's awesome. That's good. Let's put that in the white. Yay, good news and shit. But I got to get up at 4:30 and rush around and grab shit and make it to the airport. I'm going to put that in the black. Boo. And then in looking at it and just labeling it allowed me to not invest so much emotion into it and instead just see it for what it is. And so even though I don't need the Yinyang to do that anymore, it taught me to do that. And I still do that, on an easier level where I can just automatically think like, okay, wow, this is not good. And then either call it like it is or else try to make fun out of it and be like, well, this is really good. Like we're really lucky. What are the odds that a fucking plane would crash right in front of us? That's wow. We should play the lottery. Yay. Yay. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, that's what it did. And I always love that yin yang. It stands for balance. And for me, everything's about balance. And for me to feel like, for everybody to be at your best, you have to be balanced. And for me, once I became really cognizant of the necessity to get my spiritual game, up to par so that I could have a balance, way back when I was like burnt out and everything. And I realized, whoa, I got to have mind, body, spirit all balanced in order to be at my best, in order to be able to grow, in order to be able to vibrate so that other people see me as a positive influence, all that, it's all about balance. And when I'm off balance, I'm aware of it. And so that becomes my agenda right now is to get back on balance. That's maybe that's why, like when something hurts, if it hurts really bad, my mind is like, boom, deal with the pain, because I don't want that to affect my mood and affect my day and everything. So, whether it's kratom or a Norco or ice or whatever, it's like instead of just being like, okay, well, my fucking knees kill. That's cool. Instead of that, like sometimes I'm like, okay, if there's something I can do about it, boom, let me go ahead and take care of that right now. Boom. So I can remain balanced.
Yeah. Man, it's all about balance. And that's really cool. Thanks, Voodoo Vic. That was a good question. And he said we should do a whole episode on that sometime. That's pretty cool. Yeah. On learning from all that.
Because there's a lot to meditating, and I would like to talk more about that.
Yeah. Hey, this Rolling Stoner says the Greek Glass fam is live in the house. So how about that? Stay tuned, guys. Good stuff coming on 420.
Yes, and that's in 2 nights. 2 nights from now, as a matter of fact.
How about that?
In the motherfucking ring.
In a ring.
48 hours from now.
That's it.
Yeah, man.
Somebody in the chat here, it wasn't a super chat. I'm trying to find where it was. Somebody asked about, did you have any interaction with Van Hammer from WCW? Wrestler Van Hammer.
Um, man, I think that I only had a conversation or two with him, and I can't remember what those conversations were. We were there at the same time, but for whatever reason, I don't remember having too much interaction with him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When I think of him, by the way, I always think of William Regal putting him out with the headbutt that allegedly happened at a after hours kind of thing where all the boys were around a social setting, I believe at a pool table, and something happened. I don't know the whole story, but Van Hammer, I guess, was being offensive and aggressive towards Regal, and according to the story, Regal like headbutted him really hard, bam, and like just put him out like real quick like that. And I've always respected and admired William Regal because he's the real deal. You know what I mean? I used to, around this same time, which was 92, 93 in WCW when we were all there, Van Hammer, Regal, myself, Max Payne. Who else was there? Well, Steve Austin, Brian Pillman.
Mustafa?
Yeah, I worked with Mustafa back. Yeah. And I was Sting there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Larry Zbyszko was there.
Was Nash?
Jim Barnett. It seems like he would have to be, right? Vader.
Yeah. Vader, okay.
Steiners, I think were. Anyway, when it comes to the three of us being back then, like when I was riding with Regal, like I think we started on the same day, or maybe he was already hired but was in the office the day that I got hired or something, and we ended up splitting a car or whatever and riding around together and stuff. And right away I could tell he was the real deal, and he told me that he would be the challenge at the circus or carnival where they'd have a ring and it was an open invite to the crowd, anyone that wanted to step in the ring with our guy here, and you can last 5 minutes or whatever the challenge was, you'd win this much money or whatever. And he was doing that. Like he was the guy in the ring that would tie people up, and he was doing this when he was really young too. So I knew he was a badass.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Some of those stories he has too, when he had that podcast he used to do, Gentleman Villain, and wow, like just the experience that he had and the knowledge obviously he has for everything. Yeah, just a tough SOB, and seeing him. I remember the match that we watched, the street fight he had with Fit Finley back in WCW, and it was really well done for being like a parking lot brawl kind of thing, and those guys just laid into one another. It was nuts. So
he's one of those guys, by the way, that, and I said I respect him and admire him. He's also one of those guys that seem like they could possibly get easily offended and then make you want to kind of like tiptoe on that line. You know what I mean? Like there's certain guys like that. Chuck Zito is one of them. I also, from watching the podcast, we talk about Joey Merlino a lot. He's one of them. There's several of these guys, and it's just like when I'm talking to them, like, all I got to do if I say something about fucking who knows, whatever, blah blah blah, and they go, "Excuse me," and then it's like, "Fuck, what did I just say?" Did I just offend this motherfucker? Like what did I say? Do I need to say it different, or should I tell him what I just said? What just happened? And Regal's kind of like that, where he could just be like, he could just be like, I beg your pardon, and it's whoa, what? You gotta hold on, make sure I didn't offend you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's people like that, and he's always been like that, where it's like, we're cool, right?
We're good. Are we good?
You like me?
Yeah, you like me? Are we okay? We okay? Andrew Vincent Brown, thank you. He just says, totally digs these shows. I make sure I hit like. So thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Boom, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
If only more people did that. It's always a small percentage of the views that actually hit like.
Yeah.
I personally, whenever I watch YouTube, like I always hit like right off the bat. Like even before I watch the video, I figure like, you know what, I'm gonna do my part. I feel like if I stuck my head in the room, you know, then I feel like I gotta drop my business card, you know, and be like, okay, you know, you had a visitor here, good, you got me hooked with the thumbnail or whatever, even if it sucks and I leave. But that's when I'm on my computer. If I'm watching on my TV in the gym, then it's not so easy.
Yeah.
Then I got to have my remote control, and then I got to fucking hit up, you know, just to get it to come back on, and then maybe hit up again, and then over, and then, you know, highlight the fucking circle that's got the thumbs up. So,
yeah.
So I owe a lot of people from watching in the gym that I normally would give likes to.
Take note. You're like on the treadmill and you're like taking notes. Like, okay, gotta make that one.
Got to be a lot of our viewers too. That's got to be why they don't all hit like, right?
Yeah, right.
Maybe
yeah,
on the phone or whatever, it's not as easy. It's easy as fuck on the computer, you know.
Right.
Fucking put the mouse there, boom.
Right
Fuck
there.
yeah, like, and I hit subscribe too, bitch.
That's it. We appreciate the efforts, everyone. Hey, before we get out of here, we'll close it out, I think, with this one here, Rob. This popped up on social media. I saw Antonio Cineros said Amy Winehouse's favorite wrestler was RVD, and I saw that there was like an article or something about that, and like, you know, Amy Winehouse, famous late singer, she was a wrestling fan, and one of her favorite wrestlers was you. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it was that, and I knew that. I was told that years ago when she was still alive. But you know, yeah, that is cool. It's always cool to learn when celebrities drop your name, or when someone you're a fan of is a fan of yours. And I definitely did like her music. You know, that sucked that she died. When I was in England last time, we went and we were in her hometown, so we went to see her neighborhood. I think I saw the apartment where she lived. Definitely saw the statue that they had of her, and like the whole area. I made a episode out of it on YouTube. But,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, she's part of that 27 club, you know, that is known for where like Jimi Hendrix and Kurt Cobain and Jim Morrison, I believe, and yeah, Amy Winehouse, all dead at 27, but great artists and stuff like that. Pretty.
You know what's weird is, like, I think when I was in high school, like 16 years old or something, I would have been stoked to be in that.
Right. That's people, like, I'm sure a lot of artists felt that way too, you know, in certain ways, like, oh, 27, no boy, you know, she's that talented.
And I had such a small perspective of life, you know, being so young.
Mm-hmm.
Me, just thinking that everyone in the world would know who I am for one day or whatever sometimes seems worth it all. It seemed like the element of fame was something that nobody had in Battle Creek. You know, nobody knew anybody famous, and that and I think it's like that probably with a lot of young people anyway, even if there are some famous people. You know, the older you are, the bigger the more life you have, and then the better you can be at making decisions. But I remember my principal called me down one time to the office, and I didn't know what I was in trouble for, because I'd already gotten called down several times for everything else. I was like, oh, it's probably no, they already got me for that. You know, I was goof off at this point in high school. And then Mr. Tenney, my principal, who I really didn't like at the time, having that kid's perspective, you know,
right?
Who knows now, like what I would think of him. He maybe be fine, but he goes, Rob, what do you want to do when you get out of high school? And I said, well, hopefully I'll be dead or in jail within 5 years. And I think I said that, you know, to get a reaction out of him, so he'd be like, ooh, this kid's crazy. But he was like, why would you want that? And I was like, because that'd be cool. You know, and I felt like I was half fucking with him, but also I remember feeling like, boom, like I want everyone to be talking about me. And you have like such a small world at that point that like if you were in jail, everyone would be talking about you like, whoa, man, he was crazy, dangerous, man. You know what I mean? And I remember like it kind of made sense at the time, but man, you know, that's so silly and stupid. And now I'm glad I wasn't dead or in jail within 5 years. And I plan on being around. I'm just reaching halfway. I'm going to be 120. So get used to it, bitches. But Mr. Tenney, by the way, he called me down. And because we had written out, we all had to write something on a piece of paper and turn it in that said what we want to do when we get out of high school. And there was nothing that said, I want to be a professional wrestler. There was no, you know, vocational services or information on that. They would just laugh at me like I was not being serious, right? So I put on there, I'm going to assassinate Mr. Tenney. And nowadays, you would get in a lot more trouble. This was before kids had guns and kids were shooting at schools, way before. But because we didn't have the best relationship, he told me at that meeting when he, you know, unveiled the purpose of the meeting and showed me the piece of paper that I'd written on. I forgot about writing that. I was just joking. And he said, yeah, you know, I figured you probably were, but he said, just in case something happens to me, I am going to notify the police. And I remember thinking, like, wow, that sounds pretty serious, you know, to a high schooler. Nowadays, though, holy shit, if you can't say something like that and not get you should get expelled or something, suspended. You don't belong in school if you're fucking thinking that. And I wasn't thinking that. I was just trying to get attention.
Pushing buttons. Kind of
Being a dumbass kid.
Yeah, that's it. I know. And back then, it was such a different landscape than when it comes to schools and stuff like that.
Yes, it was.
1998 is when all that stuff kind of changed and started, you know, people started thinking differently. And
I don't think at that time anybody could have taken that seriously, that I legitimately was thinking about assassinating Mr. Tenney. I thought that could only be taken as a joke, Rob writing something crazy. No way that anybody would be like, yeah, he's going to fucking get a gun and shoot him, and Mr. Tenney's in danger now. That was not even a thought back then.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely not. Sure. Corey Donovan chimes in with the super chat. We'll close it out with this. Since AEW doesn't have a network or subscriptions like WWE, are pay-per-view paydays the way they were back in the day, depending on the buys, etc.? We don't know about AEW necessarily, because Rob hasn't done a pay-per-view for AEW, but I mean, I'd imagine this format might probably be the same for some of these guys and talents. I don't know if you've heard anything from a roster member of AEW or anything, but
I unfortunately have no information to offer on that based on anyone else's deal, based on my one-day contracts that I signed. So I don't know.
It's interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Maybe I can ask around and figure that out, Corey. But thanks for the $9.99. Yeah, I'll try to do some digging on that. But cool, Rob, you got a big weekend up ahead here. Collision, Peoria, Illinois. Gonna be good stuff. Or what is it? Is it Peoria, Illinois? Am I right on that?
I think you seem to take a syllable out of it when you say it.
Yeah, I think I do. I got mush mouth with it.
I think it's Peoria.
Peoria. There we go. Peoria. I think you're right, Rob.
Yeah. And I was, you know, I figure it's near Chicago. Because people were calling it Chicago, you know, saying, hey, you're going to be in Chicago? Yeah. And then I was surprised to see that I have a flight from Chicago to Peoria. And I'm like, fuck, how far is that? I had to look it up. And it's still, I think, 150 miles away or something.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I would assume the same thing, Rob. Yeah, I got to look that up. Peoria, Illinois to Chicago. Let's see.
Which isn't super far, but yeah, I have a flight. But anyway, yeah, it's that's where it is up in Illinois. Collision, 420. fucking stoked. Gonna launch the Greek Glass collaboration, and I'm gonna kick ass. And you asked earlier how I feel, even though you didn't give me time to answer.
Did I interrupt?
Fucking no, you just kept talking. You didn't. You just kept going.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So how do you feel? And then like went on to extend your question into yeah, and feel awesome, dude. Everyone's gonna see me and say, "Holy shit, it's the best RVD has looked yet." In fact, I thought about trying to shoot a video of me working out like with the cuffs, just to show everybody. But I doubt that I'll do that before I leave tomorrow, because I really don't have that much time between now and then, and got a bunch of shit to do. And used to be when I worked out with Medium Rob. When I lived in LA, it was easy to hand the camera off and have him film something when I wanted to do those RVD TV 5-star workouts. But now it's always just me by myself, so I got to try to do it when Katie's around or D, and they can grab a camera and run in. Or I could set up the tripod, which I may do, but then of course, you're not always going to get the best angles and whatever, man. You're lucky if I give you shit. So, but anyway, feeling awesome. It's great. Every time I get back in the ring, when it hasn't been 4 months since my last match, then I'm fucking in top condition and ready to go and don't need to warm up. So it's cool. My last match was was it Riddle? Was that my last match? Or
Mike Bailey. Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yeah, I thought I just had one. Yeah, I just wrestled Mike Bailey last week.
Yep. Great match.
Mike, yeah, good kid too. I like that kid. I can see a young RVD in him.
Ooh, that's a high compliment right there.
That's going to be the headline on this clip. I see it now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, guys, you can watch that match actually on RVD TV. Go to rvdtv.com. You get the fans' perspective of the match, and very cool stuff. Very fun match. Yes, but see Rob this Saturday at AEW Collision. Rob, do you have a new singlet you're going to show, or is there?
Well, that's the surprise. Let's wait in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned. Hey, speaking of 422, I got a little announcement to make on 422 with your buddy Bill Alfonso. So keep your eyes out for that, everybody, too.
On 422 or 420 also?
On 420 as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
Got you. And by the way, that is my dad's birthday. I always like to bring that trivia fact up, because a lot of people don't know that, and they joke and tell me happy birthday on 420 because they know that I'm celebrating. But that is when my dad was born.
Yeah, there we go. Wow, I didn't know that.
And Hitler, but I don't know Hitler.
Yeah, I don't know him. They don't know that guy. Guys, so
I heard he was an asshole.
Yeah, he was a bit of an asshole from what I heard too.
Hitler, not my dad.
Yeah, right. Hitler we're talking about. Guys, be sure to follow RVD at The Real RVD on all social media platforms.
Say bye, Barbie?
Ooh, does Barbie want to say bye?
Not really, but I'm going to make her say it anyway.
You're still there, Barbie. We see ya.
Whoa.
We see ya.
All right. Dogs got their own segment now on RVD One of a Kind. You're an important part. You're drawing your own crowd. We got people sending in pictures of their doggies and wishing they had good doggies like you, Barbie.
He's like, why am I here?
She's like, I was taking a nap, asshole.
What are you doing, man? I'm trying to sleep here.
I was comfortable. Love you, Bar.
Well, guys, be sure to get your singlets in. If you want to still do that, go to RVDeBay at Gmail. Download that template and send it in to Rob. We're going to make the announcement. I'm sure Rob will make his choice. So, guys, tune in.
Well, yes. So Joe Holland, not Howen, not Joe Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel.
Yeah. Maybe that's still up there. But anyway, he's going to help. He's got an idea, a process, a system where we narrow it down to like the top 20, and then we're all going to go through them. And he'll be a big part of that. On 420, it is a Saturday. I'll be on the road. So if you do send in something over the weekend and it's a little bit late, I doubt we're going to discount it because it'll probably be Monday before we actually can get together and go over stuff. But you didn't hear that from me. But but that's we got so many outfits already that are sent in. It's going to maybe show a few of them to get people ideas, but not necessary. There's only like so many different colors you can do anyway. I'm amazed at how creative people have been, and I look forward to wearing the winning outfit for sure. So that's this 420, and the following weekend, which we will have another time to talk about it between now and then. But I will be saying hi to my fans in Canada, which I haven't done in a little while because I have an appearance in Toronto.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you heading to Montreal too? Somebody said they're excited to see you in Montreal.
That's coming up. That's coming up too.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe in June or July. And at the end of this month, April, I think it's 29th, I think, or 30th. It's on my website. But anyway, I'm in Toronto at this Kojo Sports Collectibles. And so we'll be talking about that. But also, yeah, I got like something coming up in Mississauga. I believe it's a comic book convention in Mississauga later in the year. I'm going to be hitting Canada a few times. So always look forward to that. Love my Canadian fans, eh?
Hey, the great up north there. Don't you know? All right. Yeah, guys, check it out. Rob will be in Toronto for, I'm not seeing it now, the Kojo Sports Collectibles event there going on. So be sure to check that out.
What date does it say?
The date is April 28th in Toronto, Canada. You will be there at the Sports Card Expo. So check it out.
Fuck yeah, we will.
Check it out. Party the fuck down, guys. Hey, we partied the F down here. Rob, good show. And guys, we'll see you next week here on One of a Kind with RVD.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Van Dam fam. Appreciate you, Dom. See you next week.
Rob. Yep.